What's up, guys? I got another video for you tonight about the croissant diet. It's called Eat This, Don't Eat That. So I've got some notes down here I'm going to be looking down at so that I stay on track, because there's so many things to say about this. I have a tendency to chase rabbits when I'm doing a presentation. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. So buckle up, because there's a lot of information coming. This video is not meant to be a list of foods for optimal health. This video is about the croissant diet, the framework that Brad Marshall came up with, because when he was looking into, basically they called it the French paradox, the way the French people ate in the late 60s and early 70s, these people ate flour, butter, dairy, just a high saturated fat diet, sugar, cheese, pastries, wine, you name it, it was on the menu. And these people were very thin and they did not have a high incidence of cardiovascular disease. So this was one of those things they called the French paradox way back when Ansel Keys, the person who's responsible for all of us believing saturated fat is bad for us and that we should be sucking down toxic vegetable oils. But anyway, Brad wanted to know, like, hey, what's the deal? Why were these people able to eat refined carbs and sugar? Sugar and saturated fat. So anyway, that's what this is. This is not supposed to be like the most optimal health diet. This was a diet that Brad was looking at because he wanted to know, how are these people able to get lean eating this way? Because like me, I've always believed that if you're going to eat carbohydrates, you don't want to eat a lot of fat with it, because if you do, you're going to get fat. And so Brad figured out the mechanism, the reason why it works. And basically, we've talked about this many times before. It's because saturated fat helps your body burn fat, and polyunsaturated fat, it almost seems like it shuts down your body's ability to burn calories, like it brings it to a standstill. It's crazy how much weight I gain when I either purposefully a few times or accidentally get too much poly. And we'll talk about accidents like eating out and things like that. But anyway, so on with it. I do feel that there are tremendous health benefits to eating this way. Number one, most Americans are consuming somewhere in the neighborhood of a quarter of a cup of vegetable oils every day through all of the different things that they eat. And in one of the videos that I watched by Dr. Kate Shanahan, she said that she felt like 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil had the oxidative stress equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes. So that means the average American has as much oxidative stress coming in their body as 4 packs of cigarettes a day, just from the vegetable oils they're eating. And no wonder they cause so many health problems. So I think it's a great thing if you can remove polyunsaturated fat, get it down to a very low level in your diet, and increase the healthy saturated fats in your diet. But there are things, there are people out there, there are camps, we've talked about this before, the keto camp, the carnivore camp, the whole food camp, all those camps. I'm not, like, this is about the croissant diet. And I see the merit in what these people are doing. I really, truly do. Most of them are like totally against refined carbohydrates. And in an upcoming video, we will talk more about that. But this is about what you should eat on the croissant diet, what to eat and what not to eat. So on with it. All right, so these are the things that you should be looking for to eat. And honestly, top of the list should be saturated fat. Okay, so grass-fed beef, 80-20. Why do I say grass-fed? I'll talk about that in a minute. Grass-fed butter, tallow, which is beef fat, heavy cream, half and half, sour cream, cheese and other high-fat dairy, pastured eggs. If you're going to buy eggs, the only word on an egg carton that means anything is the word pastured. Organic, cage-free, whatever, pastured, And also I'd look for like antibiotic free, hormone free, but pasture is the only word that really means something. So it means that these chickens were roaming around in a pasture. Cage free just means that the chicken had like a square foot of grass it could walk on in a giant factory of chickens that are fed garbage. So anyway, that's, if you're gonna get eggs, get pastured eggs if you can. Ground bison, I get mine at Costco. So a lot of people probably, you know, hold their nose when I say this, but something that's really, really good, and I'll tell you a trick on how to do this. If you're like me, you're not a huge fan. Organ meats, liver, kidney, heart, etc. Tremendous health benefits in these things. You might not like the taste. I got some ideas on that. Lamb chops or any other lamb meat. Cocoa butter from the vegetable kingdom, very high in saturated fat. Ghee, which is clarified butter, stable at room temperature so you can keep it in the cabinet. Real cheese, any kind, not packaged slices. Wild game, any kind. Okay, other things. That's your primary list that I just gave you. Those are the primary things that you want to be looking for. All butter croissants. Read the labels. I have found that Walmart makes all butter croissants and they are all butter. Publix can't find a croissant in there that doesn't have vegetable oil. So be careful. It's not just about, and also croissants aren't required. That's just the name Brad gave the diet. Steel cut oats, potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice. If you're going to cook rice, my wife's Filipino, Asian. Asian people know how to cook rice. Do yourself a favor. Get a rice cooker. Ours is always on. And if you're going to cook rice, rinse the rice multiple times and drain the water until the water's clear, not cloudy anymore. So you're going to make a hamburger and you're looking for buns, and every bun that you find has vegetable oil in it. Pepperidge Farm makes a all butter bun that I found at Walmart, no vegetable oil. Small amounts of fruit juice, not from concentrate, no sweeteners added. I've had 2 5-ounce servings every day pretty much on this diet, at least Monday through Friday when I make my smoothie. Vegetables, any kind. Leafy vegetables like greens are okay too. Pasta made with eggs. The more eggs that are in the ingredients, the better. Let's see. High saturated fat ice cream. Yeah, I know I'm gonna get some flack for that, but I mean, it's on the list. Now I'm not a doctor and this isn't medical advice, okay? So if you have a problem with sugar, you don't need to be eating ice cream that's loaded, you know, with sugar. All right, fruit, any kind. Real chocolate. Make sure it's made with cocoa butter, also butter and cream too. Watch out for cheap garbage ice cream that's made with vegetable oil. They're out there. Quite a few of them, in fact. I was shocked. And don't go crazy with the sugar and flour. If you're thinking about the diet in the terms of the way the French ate back in the 60s and 70s, I've lived in Europe. I lived there for 6 years. European desserts, French desserts, they are literally less than half as sweet as fatty, you know, American desserts. I mean, if you ate one of theirs and you ate one of ours, you like night and day how much more sugar is in ours. And they are made with real butter, not garbage vegetable oil. When in doubt, repeat after me. Does it have added vegetable oils? If it does, don't eat it. Okay, let's on with the don't eat list. Also, the other thing, the flip side of that is, does it not have any vegetable oil? You can have it. Don't eat vegetable oils, any kind. So I heard Dr. Kate Shanahan say in one of her videos, she calls it the 3 C's and the 3 S's. There are way more vegetable oils than these, but she said canola, corn, and cottonseed, soybean, sunflower, and safflower. Those are the primary culprits that you'll find everywhere. But if it was a seed and it was pressed into an oil, don't eat it. Or any other seeds pressed into oil. I heard, let's see, commercial fatty pork, bacon, sausage, ground pork, fatty pork chops. Don't eat those. Commercially raised pigs, their fat content can be up to 30% polyunsaturated fat because they feed them a bunch of polyunsaturated fat. Just like we get a bunch of polyunsaturated fat stuck inside of us, they get a bunch stuck inside them. Why do they always grain finish all these animals so they can fatten them up real quick? guess what that stuff does to us? Vegetable oil does the same thing to us. If you do eat pork, you can have it, you need to make sure it's a very lean cut and you trim all the visible fat. Unless you buy the pork from Firebrand Meats. So Brad Marshall, the creator of the Croissant diet, has his own company that has pigs that were specially bred and raised on a diet so that they have a very low polyunsaturated fat content. So he has pork on his website that you can buy. So that one's okay. Commercial fatty chicken or turkey, chicken wings, any chicken with the skin on, dark meat, ground turkey, turkey sausage, turkey bacon. If you do eat poultry, make sure it's breast meat and it's lean. Processed foods made with vegetable oils. This list, there's no way I could cover it all, but the biggest culprits: potato chips, tortilla chips, crackers, most snack foods, snack cakes, store-bought cookies, cakes, pies, store-bought baked goods, unless you know it was made with butter and not vegetable oil, packaged meals and meal items labeled. You need to read the labels carefully. I mean, these things are usually loaded with vegetable oil. And there's a reason for it. Vegetable oil is cheap. Butter is considerably more expensive by weight, just costs a lot more. So here's a way to make the food savory and taste good, and they put it in everything. The other thing is, vegetable oil doesn't send a signal to your brain to tell you to stop eating, and the food companies want you to keep eating their food. Saturated fat actually sends a signal to your brain, hey, I'm full, I don't want any more, I'm done. And that's a good thing, because we need to notice when we've eaten enough. So here's something else. When you're looking at labels, because sometimes people are using chronometer, and I'm going to do another video about a chronometer. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. I'm going to do another video about that. But when you're looking at labels, sometimes you'll bring it in and it won't show that it has any poly in it. And you're like, this is okay. Well, here's what you need to think, okay? When the label says total grams of fat, because they all are required to list the total grams of fat, and it says 14, and then they have to list the saturated fat, and it says 5. Well, you have to ask yourself the question, where did the other 9 grams come from? What are they? Are they well, they're not saturated, because that's already listed, so they have to either be mono or poly. Well, that's when you need to go look at the label and see what's in it. And if you find vegetable on there, put it back on the shelf. If it was a beef product, beef is like 60-40 saturated to mono. So you'll see a lot of monounsaturated fat in beef and animal products. So just subtract the two numbers. If there's a large difference, read the label, see if it has vegetable oil in it of any kind. If it does, put it back. It has way too much poly in it. And it's not going to show up in chronometer, because the manufacturer uploaded the data that they put on their label, and that's what's going to be displayed. I'll tell you a trick about how to go around that whenever you're using that app. If you're using that app, and I highly recommend that you do, to track your calories. So let's see. Peanut butter and nut butters. Nope, don't eat them. Basically, they fall in the same category of high polyunsaturated fat. And let's see, if you're going to do a trick as far as your metabolism goes and you're having a meal, if you can eat your carbs last at the meal, that's something that kind of lowers the insulin spike from when you're eating a meal. So that can help you if you have a goal of losing weight. Another thing is, maybe one meal a day, you just drop the carbs altogether. So you just have a meal that's fat and protein and no carbs at all. That will keep you from having another insulin spike during your day, and that will help you on your journey as well. Eating out is really tough, and I'll give you lots of examples, but I just got back from a family reunion. We went up to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We went to a steakhouse, and hey, okay, I know steak's fine. Ordered a nice juicy steak, and then I said they had a loaded butter baked potato. So I said, okay, I think I'll get that. And then the waitress came and I asked her, I said, so is this baked potato, does it have butter? And she goes, no, it's whipped margarine. But I didn't say this to her, but I'm thinking, well, it says on the menu butter baked potato. Well, as far as a restaurant's concerned, it tastes like butter, it's butter, whatever. They're not required to tell you on the menu when they're naming something what it is. It's kind of like eating buttered garlic shrimp. Remember, restaurants have margins. You know, they're trying to make money. Vegetable oil is dirt cheap, butter's not. If you're going to have butter garlic shrimp, they probably squirt quite a bit of oil in the pan, put the shrimp in there, maybe throw a pat of butter in if you're lucky and some garlic. And then you get it, and then if you ask the server, look, these people are overworked and underpaid. They don't know. All they know is when they went through the kitchen last time, they saw the chef throwing something that looked like butter in the pan. So if you ask if it has butter in it, they're going to say yes. Then you eat it, and then you're like, what the heck happened? I just stalled out. I'm not losing weight anymore. It's because you ate a bunch of polyunsaturated fat because you ate out somewhere. And, you know, so that's happened. So you got to be careful. Things you can eat when you're out, keep it simple. You know, have a cheeseburger. You're going to get a little poly in the bun. Don't sweat it. Don't get mayo or any creamy sauce, and don't have French fries. They're all cooked in vegetable oil. So, and you know, when you're asking them about whether the ingredients are, you know, what ingredients are in there, they're just making a wild ass guess. So, let's see what else. Choose ingredients you understand. You're going to a Mexican place, make a bowl, ground beef, cheddar cheese, sour cream, lettuce and tomato, you're good. You know, maybe put some pico de gallo, some salsa on there, no poly in that. You know, no greens that have been soaked in any dressing of any kind because it's going to be made. And no, unfortunately, I'm sad too, no tortilla chips. Steak and baked potato is a good choice when you're out with butter, extra cheese, extra sour cream. Easy on the sauteed vegetables. They're almost always sauteed in vegetable oil. Also, they may put margarine on the potato. I mentioned that already. So you have to make them check. Have to ask. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so there's a restaurant here in town, and they have French fries that are cooked in, well, it says Wagyu oil. Fancy. That's a fancy word for beef fat, tallow. Wagyu beef is phenomenal. It's really, really good. It's super fatty, and it's delicious. And it's marbled throughout the meat. So it's not like a big chunk of fat. It's just marbled throughout the whole meat. But the fat from Wagyu isn't special. What makes Wagyu special is it has a lot of fat. So it's just beef tallow. I can't wait to try these though. I just heard about them. So anyway. Worst case, if you really want to be strict and you want to avoid the poly, you don't get the bun either. You make it into a lettuce wrap. Let's see. And that's basically it. So I've got several more videos lined up, and the next one is going to be, is the croissant diet healthy? So I'm going to cover the parts that are, the parts that aren't, all of that stuff. I'm also going to cover ways that you can make it healthier. I've got another video on tricks for using chronometer to ensure that you're getting the data right, because you can't just look at that screen and it says no poly and then just be good with it. You still have to read labels. You want to avoid that stuff if you want to have good progress. I'm rethinking fish oil, so we're going to talk about that in an upcoming video, and also want to talk about, no, I'm not rethinking getting fish oil from fish though, so just keep that in mind. But the capsules, I'm rethinking that. And we're going to do a video on fat when it's in the wild. Like, is polyunsaturated fat bad when it's actually still inside the seed, or is polyunsaturated fat when it's still inside the fish or inside the egg or whatever? So we're going to talk about that in another video too. So I look forward to those, and these videos are based on a lot of your questions. There are people who've asked me questions online, people who've asked me questions on Reddit, on these videos themselves, and then friends and family who've been texting me and messaging me and so forth. So I look forward to it, and I hope you like this video. And if you do, click like and share it with your friends. Thanks.